strange pull towards the Jewish religion and culture, but I didn't know why. So when I was in preschool, actually, before I had even started any schooling, official schooling at all, my parents had just moved to South Carolina. They didn't know anyone, and they made friends with a Brazilian couple who happened to be Jewish, and they recommended this great preschool called Shalom Kids. So, being Roman Catholic, going to church every Sunday, I started at a Jewish day school at the age of 2 or 3, and my sister came after me, and that's where we had our first formal education. For artwork, we would color dreidels, and we learned about Passover, and that was the only introduction and only knowledge that I had of the Jewish religion and culture up until later on. After that, I entered in kindergarten at Our Lady of the Rosary Catholic School, and I spent the next 9 years living a Roman Catholic life at a Catholic private school, going to church twice a week. And that is what I knew. And then in high school again, this idea of kind of a Jewish identity was brought back up. I had friends that would come up to me and say, "Oh, are you Jewish? Like, you look Jewish, there's something about you." And I was like, "No, I'm not Jewish, I'm Roman Catholic, both sides of my family are." Like, gone to Catholic school for 9 years. At this point, Shalom Kids is a distant memory of my past. So there was really no connection for me, and I couldn't really identify with this missing link. But people would there were always strange coincidences, always little instances where a world religions teacher would be like, "Oh, tell us about Hanukkah, you know all about it." "No, I don't, I'm Catholic, sorry." Or later on, one of my friends was like, "Oh, your license plate says Jew on the back, they must have known." "I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about." So there was always these strange little coincidences. So about my junior year in high school, my mother gets a call from her cousin that's living in Miami, and she had just done a genealogy project about our family tree. And what she discovered was, in fact, there is a link to Judaism and the Sephardic religion and culture and all of this. So my family came to Cuba from the Basque region in Spain, which was an area known for being Jewish. What we learned from this, as you can see, that's the Sephardic region. It extends into France as well. My family is from the north part of Spain, before they came to Cuba, and what we learned was that area was in fact Jewish, and when the first Spanish Inquisition came in, the people were given a choice. You change your name and stop practicing the religion, and you can keep your property and you can stay and live in peace, or you can move. So my family decided to change their name and keep their property and test it out. So like many people in the area that decided to go with that course of action, they changed their name to the name of the town, Landa. So if you actually go to the Basque region, there is a small town called Landa, and that is where my family originates from. So unfortunately, it's never quite that simple, and what we found out was after a few years of living and still being persecuted for this Jewish heritage that the family had, they decided they weren't going to deal with it anymore, and the family moved to Cuba. What we later found out through more extensive research was that there are landas from this Basque region, not just in Cuba, but in Mexico, Venezuela, Chile, Puerto Rico, Costa Rica. Landa is not a very common Spanish name. It's not like a Rodriguez or Gonzala. But it is, all of the landas that are in anywhere in South and Central America come from this Basque region, and at one point spoke probably the Ladino language. So what does this mean for my future? I don't really know yet. I want to pursue research in Cuban studies specifically. Maybe there will be an avenue for it there. Certainly, I did not think that at one point I would be speaking about the Ladino language, which I know very little about, but here I am tonight. So I think it just really goes to show that the language might be dying, but there are still avenues of research and avenues for all of us to explore it. Thank you.